with regard to yesterday's program and that sleazy bit of filth I played for you from America's Truth Detector, Rush Limbaugh. These things are particularly effective when you chew them up for the refreshing burst of flavor. Bring me more pills. Got an email here from Paul in Portland. He says, I was listening to your podcast yesterday from White Rose Society. Thank you, Ben. And I will add thank you to everybody who supports the Horn, so that we don't have to charge for that stuff. Paul says, when you quoted Limbaugh talking about parents not being on the brink of poverty, being able to afford to have their useless kids move in with them, I nearly lost it. By the way, the subject line of this email is, Limbaugh ruined my day. Here's a reality check for Mr. Limbaugh, says Paul. I moved out on my own when I was 21 and experienced life on my own, working hard and making a career. Even though the economy officially hit in November of 2008, I was basically laid off by March of 2008. I used my savings and other means to finish my BS in biochemistry and found myself with no job and no experience in March of 2009. My parents were kind enough to take me back into their home at the age of 31 with them in their early 60s. It has been over 2 years now, and I'm still there. No work to speak of except the occasional odd seasonal job during the summer or holiday season. My dad lost his job last August and has been unable to find work for nearly a year now and may not get one since he's only a couple of years from Social Security. Currently, my mother is the only working person in our household. But don't worry, Mr. Limbaugh. Our family believes in personal responsibility and not depending solely on the government to take care of us. They saved for years, my parents did, in IRAs and 401ks and investments, and not just Social Security. Oh, wait. They lost more than half of all their savings in the stock market crash of 2008. My parents still have house payments and other bills, and have been dipping into savings to get by, even with cutting back and being fiscally responsible. My parents have been helping me out financially, but mostly I have a place to sleep with a roof over my head and food on the table. I currently go to Portland State University getting my master's in biochemistry and constantly walk past homeless in the street, thinking that could easily be me or my whole family, and may yet be if things don't get better in the next couple of years. I give some spare change to those on the street when I can. Mr. Limbaugh's words were a reminder to me of how ignorant people can be with reality on the ground. He doesn't understand that families are banding together just to survive. He doesn't know what it is like to sacrifice your own financial well-being to stop your son from living on the streets. I don't know if he has any children at all. He doesn't know the pain and heartache of a son who's watching his parents cashing in on what they can give to their son, cashing in what they can to give their son a shot at a better life. Things have gotten better since I got my student loans going again, thank you, Mr. Obama. But this is the reality of my family's situation, and we're taking responsibility for it. Where's anyone else's personal responsibility? No one from Wall Street's taken responsibility for this mess, and they whine when something like the Consumer Protection Agency is made to take responsibility for it. To my knowledge, only Alan Greenspan analogized, saying, I underestimated the greed of Wall Street, which to me is like saying I didn't think the little child over there would figure out how to get the lid off the cookie jar. Whenever I hear the right talk about things going wrong, it's always personal responsibility and not my fault, but hardly ever I'm sorry. Well, you know, being a corporation means never having to say you're sorry. Well, I'm sorry for being a burden to my parents for the moment, and I will be damned before I ever leave them to rot in a nursing home. I'm curious, Mr. Limbaugh, the status of your father, and if you have or will put him in a nursing home, probably the best that money can buy, instead of taking care of him like he took care of you to get your radio business started. Thanks for listening, signed Paul in Portland. And I want to back up to one line in that email. Paul writes, Limbaugh doesn't understand that families are banding together just to survive. I differ with you, Paul. I think he understands it very well, and so does Eric Cantor, and so does John Boehner, and so does Mitch McConnell, and so does every right-wing religion industry directed and influenced thug in this country. They understand it very well. And it scares them water-bowled. Because when families do come back together, each member of the family becomes a little stronger, a little less desperate. And the ultimate goal of any Republican is always the desperation of the individual. That's why they talk about, oh, we're a nation of rugged individuals pulling ourselves up by our bootstrap and getting our boats raised by the tide. That's why they do that. They strive to create a myth that we're all alone. Every last one of us, all alone. And that there will be no help. And there will be no mercy. And our only hope is to bow down before their blood-sodden altar to unholy prophet. The color of the right-wing flag should be like the color of the flag of the Spanish crown during the time of the conquest. Blood and gold. Sangre y oro. Because that is all with which they are concerned. It is all that motivates them. Blood and gold.